Hi guys, today I'm going to lead you through a really fun, well I think it's fun, flow that's going to help prep your body for Hanumanasana splits. Don't get freaked out. Getting into the full pose is not the aim, right? It's more just a chance for you to explore your body as it moves towards that final pose. If you have a couple of blocks, grab them. We're going to get started lying down on our backs. So find supported rest pose, bending your knees, feet as wide as the mat, knees coming to pull in towards one another. Now, if they don't come all the way together, no problem. Just adjust the feet as you need. Giving yourself a couple of moments to get settled here. And starting to drop into your breath and into your practice. And if you find that closing your eyes really allows you to do that, close them. If that's not comfortable for you, just rest your gaze on one spot. Following the rise and fall of your belly with each inhale and every exhale. We'll take about another 5 deep breaths here. Heel toe your feet a little closer together. You're going to extend your right leg towards the ceiling and then just bend and straighten that right leg a few times. So often, particularly if you have tight hamstrings, it's really hard to come into a static hamstring stretch early on in the practice, right? So it's nice to have a little bit of movement here. Maybe each time that you straighten the leg, it's getting a little bit straighter. We'll do that one more time. And then interlace your hands behind your right thigh and now start to press your right heel towards the ceiling. And at the same time, you're pressing your thigh back into your hands. If it's okay on the lower back, you could extend the left leg long. Try to keep that left leg in neutral though, so it's not rolling out to the side. So you want toes pulling back towards the shin, heel down on the floor. And then maybe circle out through your right foot a few times. You can point and flex it. I also like to spin the toes in and the heel out. That's just going to target a different part of the hamstrings. And then you can spin the heel in, the toes out. Just last couple of breaths here. Release your hands, bring the right foot down to the floor, and then lift the left leg up. And here we go, just bend and straighten a couple of times. So in yoga, quite often we emphasize being still, which is great, and that's a really nice part of our practice. But sometimes our bodies really crave just that little bit of movement before coming into stillness. We'll make that the last one and then interlace your hands back behind your left leg. Start to drive your left heel up towards the ceiling. Press your leg back into your hands and pull your hands into the leg. And then maybe you're taking some movement through that left ankle and foot, perhaps extending the right leg long. Again, trying to keep that right leg in neutral if you are extending it. Maybe spinning your left toes in, left heel out. And then spin the heel in, the toes out. And go ahead and release the left leg. Hug both of your knees into your chest. Give them a squeeze. Take both legs up towards the ceiling. Now keep your right leg where it is. Try to stack your right leg on top of your hip so it's not pulling in towards the shoulder, right? It's staying stacked. And then you're either going to bend the left leg and place the heel on the floor, or if you want to make this more challenging, extend the left leg long and hover it just off the mat. Interlace your hands back behind your head, press your lower back into the floor, and then we're gonna curl the head, chest, and shoulders up away from the mat. We're just gonna take some little pulsing actions here. Keep pulling the navel back down towards the spine. Just a little bit of core work, building some heat in the body. Let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lie all the way down, hug your knees into your chest. Both legs up towards the ceiling, keeping the left leg where it is, either bending the right leg and placing the heel down or extending and hovering the right leg away from the floor. Hands behind your head, press the lower back down, and then curl head, chest, and shoulders up away from the mat. Start to pulse. See if you can keep your elbows wide. Notice if you're pulsing by kind of pulling on your head or your neck. Really try to just get the abs to do the work here. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release everything down. Hug your knees into your chest again. Whew. Extend both legs long, reach your arms back, stretch your belly now to allow the lower back to lift away from the floor. Maybe an exhale through the mouth. We're gonna meet in tabletop position. You could roll to one side or rock up and down the length of your spine. Tabletop position, hands and knees. We'll just move through some cat-cows here as you inhale, drop your belly, start to pull your sternum forward, sitting bones lift. Exhale, round the spine, cat pose, really pull the belly in. 2 more, inhale through cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale. And exhale. Find a neutral spine. Tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Pedal out through the feet a couple of times. Notice what's up with the body, listening to the feedback that it's giving you, noticing what's tight, what feels good. When you're ready to settle into stillness, take the feet as wide as the mat, maybe even wider. And I want you to try and get your heels all the way down in this down dog. So obviously that may not be available to you when the feet are more narrow, and that's why you can take them super wide, right? So try to get the heels all the way down, big stretch for the hamstrings. If it's easy to have your heels down, lift your toes up. It's really getting a nice deep stretch through the calf muscles, back of the legs. Maybe closing your eyes as you settle in here. Keeping your feet where they are. Walk your hands back to your feet so they might still be really wide. And just circle out through your wrists a couple of times. Maybe you bend into one knee and then the other. From here, heel toe your feet to hips with distance apart. Walk back out, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your right leg up. Shake out the leg a couple of times. It doesn't have to look like anything in particular. And you'll step your right foot to your right thumb, lower the back knee down. Just check, this back knee is a little bit further back than your hips. Bring your hands onto your right thigh. Pause here. Now try to squeeze your right heel back towards your left knee. Feel the lower belly lift up. Either stay here or take your left arm behind you, grab a hold of the foot, lengthen your tailbone down, and you'll start to feel this really strong stretch through the front of your left hip into your quad. If you like, reach the right arm up. If you find the balance challenging, try to squeeze your inner thighs towards one another. Last breath here. And release, hands down, step back, downward facing dog. Lift the left leg, shake it out. It can be messy. Left foot to left thumb. Lower the back knee down, both of your hands onto your left thigh. Lift the torso up. Try to squeeze your left heel back towards your right knee. Lower belly lifts. Stay here, or right hand to your right foot. Lengthen the tailbone down and you'll start to feel it. That stretch through the front of your right hip. Maybe reaching the left arm up. Feel the inner thighs pull in towards one another. Last breath in. And release, downward facing dog. Inhale as you glide forwards, high plank position. Hold and breathe here. If you need, the knees will come down. Feel the inner thighs pull in. Squeeze your butt a little and lengthen your tailbone towards the heels. Again, maybe you start to just feel a little more heat come into the body here. That's normal. Take another full breath in. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, glide forwards, high plank, hold. Hips about in line with the shoulders. And without lifting the hips, pull your navel back. Front of your legs are active and strong. Downward facing dog. Last time, come forwards, high plank position. We're going to slowly lower all the way down to our bellies. Fingertip cobras, taking your hands wider than the mat, pressing down through the tops of your feet. Inhale as you roll the chest up. Pull your chest through your shoulders. Exhale, release back down. 2 more. Inhale, curl up. And release. Inhale, curl up. And release. Press back, child's pose. Feet together, knees wide. Keep your elbows lifted away from the mat. Walk your hands a little further forwards as you pull your hips a little further back. And it doesn't mean that your hips have to be touching the heels, but there's that action, that energy, so that you're stretching through the sides of your body. Downward facing dog, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Walk your hands to your feet. Hands to your feet, so you'll be at the back of the mat. Begin to roll yourself all the way up to standing and roll your shoulders back and down. Gather your hands into prayer and allow your eyes to close. And perhaps setting an intention for your practice here today. Inhale deeply. Open mouth, exhale. Release your arms and allow your eyes to flutter open. Inhale as you sweep your arms up, big stretch, maybe look up. Exhale, fold, gentle bend in the knees. Inhale to lengthen halfway, strong legs, pull your chest forwards. Walk out, plank pose. Either stay here or start to hover your right leg just away from the mat. Notice what happens with your hip. Does your right hip drop a lot? Continue to extend through the crown of your head as you press back through the right heel. Lower your right foot down. Inhale, shift forwards. Lower all the way to your belly. 3 low cobras. Thumbs in line with the lowest ribs. Inhale, curl up. Roll the shoulders back and down. Exhale, release back down. Inhale, curl up. Feel your inner thighs spiral up and release. Last one, inhale, roll up and release. Now you could either tuck toes, lift hips, down dog, or maybe you want to add in a push-up high plank, downward facing dog. Lift your right leg. Here's where it's going to get a little different. You're going to walk your hands back and find standing splits here at the back of the mat. If you have blocks, maybe you place blocks underneath their hands. Try to square off your hips as best you can. Step your right foot next to your left foot, fold. Inhale, rise to stand, reach up. Hands to prayer. Inhale as you reach. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Inhale to lengthen. Walk the hands out, plank pose. Hold here, or maybe you're starting to hover the left leg away from the floor. Maybe you just do it for like a beat or two. It doesn't have to be the whole time. Really make sure you're spreading your fingers, pressing down firmly through the finger pads. Lower the left foot down. Inhale, shift forwards, lower halfway to your belly. Inhale, cobra. Maybe you're starting to get a little deeper into these back bends. And release. Downward facing dog. Maybe adding in that push-up plank. Downward facing dog. Lift your left leg. So trying to keep the hips square here. Wrap that outer left hip down. Walk your hands back to your right foot. So you're folding over the right leg, feeling that hip compression on the right side. Left foot next to your right foot, fold. Inhale, rise to stand, reach up. Hands to prayer. Adding on, inhale as you reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Walk out, plank pose. Hover the right leg. Maybe adding on here by coming up onto the left fingertips, maybe reaching the left arm forwards. The balance is challenging. Left hand down, shift forwards, maybe the right leg still hovering, bend your elbows, chaturanga. Right foot down, inhale, cobra, maybe upward facing dog. Back to downward facing dog. Lift your right leg, hip square. Walk your hands back to your left foot. Standing splits, fold. Maybe getting a little deeper as the hamstrings start to open. Right foot next to left foot, fold. Inhale, rise to stand, reach up. Hands to prayer. Last time, inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale as you lengthen. Walk out, plank pose. Hover the left leg. Stay here or come up onto your right fingertips. Maybe reach your right arm forwards. Really try to reach through these right fingers. Keep pressing back through the left heel. Right hand comes down. Keep the left leg hovering if you like. Bend your elbows halfway, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog, pull through. And exhale, downward facing dog. Lift your left leg. Hips stay square. Walk your hands back to your right foot, folding over the right leg. Try to keep your right heel down. Left foot next to the right foot, fold. Inhale, rise to stand, reach up. Hands to prayer. Release your arms and walk to the top of the mat. Setting up for chair pose. Bend your knees, sit low, reach the arms up. So if you've practiced with me before, you know I'm a fan of having the feet as wide as you need here. Just make sure your kneecaps are traveling in the same direction as the toes. Sit your butt back and down a little more, and then lift your hip points away from the thighs. Pull up through the lower belly. Take another full breath in. Exhale, fold. Inhale to lengthen. Step the right foot back, lower the back knee down. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, cactus the arms, breathe here. Keep your legs nice and active. Inhale, reach the arms back up. Hands to the floor, step back vinyasa. Maybe you're gonna do it with that hovering back leg. Inhale through the back bend. Downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up. Exhale, knee to nose. Step right foot to right thumb, lower the back knee down. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Cactus your arms. Feel your right heel pulling back towards your left knee. Inhale, reach up. Hands to the floor. Step the left foot forwards and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Rise to stand, reach up, big stretch. Hands to prayer. Chair pose, sit low. Feel your heels pull towards the back of the mat. Lift your chest a little more like you were doing cobra pose. Last breath in. Exhale, fold. Inhale to lengthen. We step the left foot all the way back, lower the back knee down. Reach your arms up. This time, find a steeple grip up overhead. Start to lift your chest and move back into your back bend. Inhale, lift back up. Hands to the floor, step back vinyasa, maybe with the right leg hovering. Making sure that your hips aren't dipping too much if you're taking that one leg variation. Downward facing dog. Last time, lift the left leg. Knee to nose, step left foot to left thumb, lower the back knee down. Sweep your arms up, find the steeple grip with the other thumb on top this time, so it's gonna feel awkward. And then start to lift your chest up, 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 and back. If you're really flexible, try not to be so far down that you're kind of collapsed like this right here. Yeah, so even if you can be super low, back out a little, find a little more control. Inhale as you lift back up, hands to the floor, step the right foot forwards and fold. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, fold. Rise to stand, reach up, big stretch. Hands to prayer. Release your arms, set up again, chair pose. Find somewhere to set your gaze. You're gonna start to lift up onto the balls of your feet. Now, you could just lift one heel, lower it down, and then lift the other heel. If you wanna go both heels at the same time, lift up. It's hard to talk here while I'm concentrating so much. Changing the heels if one is down. And exhale, fold. Inhale to lengthen. Step or float vinyasa. Inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale. Look at your feet. Spin your left toes towards the top left corner of the mat. Step your right foot to your right thumb. Warrior one, reach your arms up. Then adjust the feet here if you need. You might want to take that right foot a little wider. Deep bend into the right knee and draw the right hip back, left hip forwards. Couple of options with the arms. You could find your steeple grip again. You could have the hands shoulder width distance apart. Just find what feels good in the upper back here and the shoulders. And get the lower part of your body doing the work for you, so that you feel nice and light through the torso, through the arms. From here, you'll wrap your right arm underneath your left, eagle wrap. Come up onto the ball of the back foot. Warrior three, starting to take the weight forwards into your right leg, lifting the left leg. Now move your hands further forwards as you press back through the left heel. Maybe you're going to keep this bind in the arms as you start to fold your chest over your right leg. If you need, the hands can always come down. You can use a block. Pull the belly up and in. High lunge, step the left foot all the way back, reach your arms up. So you can start by placing a little bend in the back knee just to help you to set up the hips and pelvis. And then once you feel like that's all working for you, start to press back through the left heel more. Take your right fingers around your left wrist. Inhale as you lengthen, side bend to the right. So what can happen here is this right knee starts to roll in and the right hip swings out. So hug that outer hip back in and then work this bend, this side bend through your torso, through your spine. Inhale as you reach your arms back up. Hands to the floor. Now this might be where you need blocks underneath your hands. You're going to spin your hands to the right and allow your feet to go with them so that you're curling up onto the blade edge or the pinky toe edge side of your feet. Flex your feet a lot. Fold your chest over your right leg. So what we're trying to do here is stretch the muscles that attach to the IT band. Generally, you know when you're in this because it's pretty strong. And then try to squeeze your feet all the way together. Try to spread the feet away from one another. Walk your hands back to your right foot. Step back vinyasa. Maybe the right leg is hovering. So being really mindful if you're hovering that leg, that your right hip doesn't dip down. Downward facing dog. Look at your feet. Spin the right toes towards the top right corner of the mat. Step your left foot to your left thumb. Warrior one, come on up. Readjust the feet as you need here. And it's not that your hips have to be perfectly square towards the front. For some people, that is not a thing, right? But we just don't want everything to be out here. So you're hugging that outer left hip in, rolling the right hip forwards as best you can, and then choosing where you want your arms to be. Feel the strength in your legs. Climb your back ribs away from the back rim of your pelvis. Eagle arms, left arm underneath right. Come up onto the ball of the back foot. Warrior three. You might have to hop, hop, hop that back foot in a couple of times. So sometimes I think we feel like, or we put pressure on ourselves to kind of arrive perfectly in a shape. But very often we need to kind of give ourselves a few breaths to find the shape in our body. It will change each day depending on what you've been doing. And then once you've found the shape, can you breathe there? So keeping this eagle wrap of the arms, standing splits, you start to fold your chest over the left leg. So you might have noticed that I've bent my left leg a little bit. That's just because I tend to really hyperextend. So having this little bend here helps me keep the muscles engaged. Hands can come to the floor at the last moment. Stepping back, crescent lunge, reaching your arms all the way up. Little bend in the back knee is a nice way to start. Again, left hip back, right hip forwards. Maybe start to straighten out through that back leg. You'll feel a deeper stretch then through that front of the right hip. Left fingers around the right wrist. Inhale as you lengthen. Side bend to the left. Watch out for that sneaky left knee. And the whole time your inner thighs have that scissoring action. Again, that just really helps with the balance. Inhale as you lift back up. Hands to the floor. Walk your hands to the left. Allow your feet to turn with your upper body. Flex the feet a lot. You're on the pinky toe edge side of both feet. So if you run a lot or maybe you cycle a lot, this is a really effective stretch. Maybe not a pleasant stretch, but certainly an effective one. Try to squeeze your feet together. Notice how that feels. And then try to push your feet away from one another. Feel that difference. Walk your hands back to your left foot, spin all 10 toes to the front, step back vinyasa, maybe hovering the left leg, making sure that right hip doesn't dip down. Downward facing dog. Lower down onto your knees and your shins. Now, if you have a block here, you can place it in between your thighs. If you don't have one, maybe just find something else, a book or something useful like that. We're just going to work on continuing to strengthen and stretch the quads. You can do this with either toes tucked or feet flat on the floor. Reach your arms out. Think of this as a little matrix move. You're starting to lean back and lift back up. Now notice what I haven't done is this, right? That's way too easy. So it's not the butt pulling back. You're gonna keep the tailbone lengthening the whole time and just start to lean back. We'll go for 5 more. 4, 3, 2. Maybe you're making funny facial expressions like I am. Last one. And lift up. Move that block out from underneath you and take a child's pose or any other pose that feels restful for you. So I prefer Vajrasana, just in this gentle kneeling position. Use this time just to bring your breath back. Let go of any drama. It's all good. We're just practicing yoga. Downward facing dog. Take an inhale through your nose. Open mouth, exhale. Lift your right leg. Exhale, knee to nose. Step right foot to right thumb. Now you may want blocks underneath the hands here. You can always come up onto your fingertips. We're going to inhale, sink through the hips, look forwards. Exhale, straighten through the front leg, and then bend your left knee and hover the left knee off the floor. And you'll see that my right toes are flexing back towards my shin. 2 more like that. Inhale, bend the front knee, look forwards. Exhale, pulling the hips back, bend that left knee and hover it, get nice and low. Last one, inhale. And exhale, hips back, hover that leg. Breathe, 3, 2, and 1. Come forward. So we're going to set up for revolve triangle pose. So hop that back foot in a little like you were doing warrior 1, but both legs are straight. Left hand down to the inside or maybe the outside of the right foot. Reach your right arm up. Twist. So again, trying to stabilize through the hips here. You're not swinging that right hip out. You're not overly dropping into the left hip. Last breath in. Stay for the exhale. One-legged Tadasana, it's a bit of a balance, right? So you're gonna stand up, lift the left leg up, and then left leg up and over the right for eagle wrap. Maybe you're gonna hook the toes behind your right ankle, left arm underneath right, Garudasana. Now in this variation of the pose for today, we're gonna keep the chest lifted. So imagine sliding your spine down the back wall. Embrace those little wobbles, they're gonna happen. Can you sit a little lower into your right leg? Keep the eagle wrap of your arms. Warrior 3, extend the left leg back. High lunge, step the left foot all the way back. Keep the eagle wrap. Start to lift your elbows up, lift your chest up. Inhale, reach the arms. Exhale, hands to the floor, vinyasa. Inhale as you lift the left leg. Exhale, knee to nose, left foot to left thumb. So we do this 3 times. Look forward, sink through the hips. Exhale, pull the hips back. Hover your right knee off the floor. 2 more, bend the knee, inhale. And exhale, get low. Last one, inhale. And exhale, breathe here. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Left foot comes back down. Set up like a pyramid pose. So those right toes are spinning out. We're finding revolve triangle pose, reaching the left arm up. Hug your outer left hip in. And remember, we can always do too much of a good thing, right? So it's about finding balance. It's not so much that this hip can't swing out a little bit. You know, if that feels better on the lower back, then fine. But you're just trying to open the chest as well. Feel that strength in your legs. Tricky little transition, one-legged Tadasana. So weight into your left leg. You're gonna pass through standing, draw the right leg in, right leg crosses over the left. Garudasana, maybe hook the toes, right arm underneath left. Sit the butt down, lift the chest up. Feel everything hug in towards the midline. Keep the eagle wrap of your arms. Warrior 3. Start to extend the right leg back. As you press back through the right heel, reach through the fingers. High lunge, step the right foot all the way back. Keep the eagle wrap. Start to lift your arms up, up, up. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, hands to the floor, vinyasa. Let's take another breath in through the nose. Open mouth, exhale. Lift your right leg. Step your right foot to the outside of your right hand. Now, before you lower this back knee down, slide the left foot back as much as you can. And then gently lower down. So you want to try to come more onto your left thigh rather than being on the kneecap, right? So maybe you lift up again, slide that foot back a little bit more, and then lower down. Keep hugging your right knee in towards your right shoulder for this variation. Stay here or squeeze the left heel towards your butt. Take your right hand behind you and grab the foot. You could also come down onto the left forearm. So there is a variation on this pose where the front leg would kind of open up to the right like this. It's not that that is wrong, but it's just kind of not really where we're going when we're moving towards Hanuman or full splits, right? Because we want the legs and the hips to kind of remain square when we're going into splits. Release the back foot. Hands to the floor, heel to your right foot in between your hands. You're gonna straighten through the front leg, pulling your hips back. Come up onto the heel of your right foot and really drive that heel down into the floor. So here you're in half splits, half Hanuman, and you can totally stay here. If you wanna start to take this a little deeper, slide the left leg back as much as you want. Maybe you're gonna place some blocks underneath your hips. That's just gonna give you a little bit of support. If you're going into a deeper variation of the pose, right leg forwards, left leg back, sitting down into your splits. Now my preference here is that these left toes or the back toes stay tucked, right? Because when they're untucked, the tendency is for this to happen. We roll out open through the splits and you're in like a dancer's split, right? So if we keep those back toes tucked, it just keeps us a little bit more honest. And then if you're really flexible, again, the tendency will be to like sink and the energy's heavy down through the hips and pelvis. So I want you to think more of lifting up and out of the hips. Maybe reaching your arms up, you can find the steeple grip up overhead. Keep driving down through your right heel. You never need to stay super long in this pose. Release your hands down. Unfortunately, there's no real clean way to get out of this, so just do your best to get back to down dog. Maybe take a vinyasa. If you're feeling like you want something a little spicy, press down through the hands, round the upper back. Now you're gonna plug your right femur back into the hip socket. Come up, three-legged dog. Inhale, come forwards. Lower through your vinyasa. Into the left side, stepping left foot to the outside of your left hand. Walk the right foot back quite a bit so that you can come down onto your right thigh. Hug the left knee in towards your tricep, maybe coming down onto the forearms, maybe taking a hold of that back foot. So a lot of the time when we're practicing yoga, particularly when you're in the first couple of years and you've learned a lot about the poses, it can be really easy to fall into this mindset of like doing a pose is only right if it's done one way. So there is a variation of this pose where this front hip would kind of spin out. That is a great pose. The only reason we're not using that variation today is because splits, where we're going, requires that we stay a little more square. So try not to think so much about like that being wrong and that being right, and just start to think about, well, why am I doing it this way right now? So you'll release the back foot, coming back up onto your hands, heel toe your left foot to the inside of your left hand, set up for half splits, pulling the hips back, driving down through that left heel. And I know you guys have probably been told this many times that both sides are gonna feel really different, but I feel like it's definitely noticeable in splits. So maybe you're staying here, maybe you're starting to get a little deeper, maybe setting up with props, or perhaps coming down into full splits. My right toes are staying tucked. Maybe you're reaching the arms up, finding the awkward variation of a pistol grip. Try to lift up and out of your hips. And release the hands down. Again, no graceful way really out of this pose. Do your best. Inhale, come forwards. Lower through your vinyasa. Take an inhale through your nose and an open mouth exhale. Child's pose. Take any variation of child's pose here that you like. So you might go knees together, feet together. You could go feet together, knees wide. And use this as a time to reconnect perhaps with your intention. Forget about what this pose looks like or the shape that you're creating. Can you let go of any negativity that you might have placed around your body or your practice? Reminding yourself that it's not important to be able to do the big peak poses. Sometimes we feel like it's important, but it's more about learning about your body, your reactions, how you approach challenges. And really that's where the yoga is. When you're ready, lifting yourself back up. Set your hips off to one side and you'll extend the legs out in front of you. Go for a little bit of a straddle here. It doesn't have to be anything really dramatic. And you're just gonna take a forward fold. So if you have some blocks or maybe a cushion from your couch, you could always use that to bring underneath your head. We're gonna allow the spine to round, right? We already did a ton of that back bending work. So allow the spine to round here, folding forwards. And I'm just gonna shake out my legs a few times here. Shake out my feet. Can you let your feet relax? Begin to lift yourself all the way back up. Take those blocks off to the side, bringing your legs back in together. Keep your left leg extended, step the right foot over the left thigh. Now we want to keep both sitting bones down on the floor here. So if you can do that and are able to bend the left leg, then go for it. Otherwise, just keep that left leg extended. Right arm comes behind, reach the left arm up and twist. Hook your left elbow over the right thigh. I'm gonna bend that knee. Roll the right shoulder back and down. And if it's not comfortable on your neck to turn your gaze towards the right shoulder, then just find somewhere comfortable for your gaze to settle. Three more breaths here. Come all the way back through center. Both hands over to the left. Just take a little counter twist. And back through center. We're gonna change out the legs. If you need to shake them out or do anything first before changing sides, go for it. Left arm behind you, reach the right arm up. Hook your right elbow over the left thigh and then start to open the left shoulder towards the back. And carefully unwind. Take a counter twist over to the other side. And back through center. Come to make your way down onto your back. And then hug your knees into your chest once you're down. You can either have the knees all the way together or the knees might be pulling down more towards your underarms. Press your lower back into the floor. Press your knees or shins or whatever you're holding onto into your hands. And taking any final little movements or wriggles that you may need to here before coming into Shavasana. I'm going to leave you in Shavasana. Try to stay for about 3 to 5 minutes if you can, really allowing your body to fully relax, let go of the breath. Otherwise, thank you so much for sharing your time and your energy. Namaste.